We came to Scotland with Edward I, and one way or another we English have been coming ever since. Some of us to stay. Nothing particularly Scottish about it to the English eye. Well, not at first anyway. Not a wild Highlander in sight. But then back at London Airport there weren't any beef-eaters. Prestwick, like any international airport, has no nationality, and yet it has them all. Out to the new world goes the Glasgow merchant. In from the Bight of Benin flies a medical student. Home comes a farmer from New Zealand. In his place, away goes a young hopeful from a croft in Lewis. Scotland's links with the world are shorter now, and what were once long journeys in Scotland itself are now but a step. Once barricaded by mountains or moated by lochs, the defences of the far reaches of the land have fallen to wings that fly on schedule. Even for the remote island, the sea is no barrier. Far places still keep their ageless tranquility, and in them is to be found a peace in nature and a grace in manners and men. This is the remote Scotland. Remote, but not lonely. It's one short step from the ageless hills to the nation's high street. Contrasts shine brighter for being brought closer together. It's not just that the crowds are cosmopolitan. There's a restlessness in the air, a distinct drive in the people, a quick humour too, and with it a friendly concern. There are no strangers in Scotland. Well, not for long, at any rate.
You know, you soon learn that Edinburgh is a capital city. I suppose you can tell it from the shops, first of all. It's not just that they compare well with anything in London. Even if you live out a bit, they're so much more accessible. But there's more to it than that. The city's cultural life, the theatres, music, and so on, they seem to be real forces in people's lives. And I find it's really exciting. They like their fun, too. It's not only the kilt that's swinging.
I got a thrill out of just going into Glasgow. The place is so alive. You can feel it in the streets. But they don't always get my accent first time, but they don't know the trouble I have with theirs. They say Edinburgh is a more beautiful city. I don't know, but I'm not sorry we came here. I just love the stir and the bustle and, well, the meatiness.
Glasgow's exciting. Always seems to be something happening, and I think what counts a lot with a woman is that the assistants in the shops, they seem to have time to take trouble. They all call you dear. They all seem to mean it. That's what I like about it.
Forge for the world. That's part of Scotland's story. A new chapter in that story is being written as traditional crafts are being joined by those of the new technology. No country holds the engineer in higher regard. James Watt showed the way. His were massive wonders suited to the age, wrought from iron, powered by steam. The engine has changed, but not the proud legacy of invention and skill. Today's magic comes in miniature. Miracles so small they have to be magnified to be seen. Today, ask for a cool mind, a surgeon's touch. Engineering expertise practiced in clinical calm. Of all the passions threaded into the warp and weft of Scottish life, none is so true or so enduring as the passion for education. Deep-rooted is the Scottish conviction that education is for all. Its only tests, academic. Its only qualification, ability. Tradition does not settle readily on bricks and steel and glass. But even here, academic roots run deep, having been cross-fertilized by the older foundations. To her 4 great universities, Scotland, so far, has added 4 more. And the new, like the old, will look far beyond Scottish shores for minds eager to learn. They've been coming here for many generations now, from many cultures and climes. Jungle and prairie and veldt have sent sons and daughters. And Scotland has sent back men and women. Before nations can grow, their people must grow. Many grew here, and are growing still. Of course, when you're very young, you scarcely notice that you're being educated.
I used to know parents who'd spend 12 months or more of sheer misery, just wondering whether their children were going to get into a secondary school. Well, here, there are more places, so... But there isn't that awful pressure on both the parents and the child.
At first I was worried that the upheaval might upset the children. As it turned out, they settled down and made friends even quicker than we did. See, this is quite a small school, which is a blessing. They get more individual attention. Mind you, they're talking with Scottish accents already. Wasn't very happy about that at first. When I told my husband, he said to me to stop havering. I think he's going the same way.
It's not all splashing about and enjoying yourself, of course. Somebody has to get on with the serious business of artistic expression. The problem at hand is, how does a fellow stop the blue running into the yellow? Oh, there, I knew it. A green cowboy. The Scots are a hill people. Hills shape their history and still shape their lives. Hills check and contain Glasgow's urban sprawl. One happy result in this mobile age is that once over the hill, you're far away. The Forth road bridge, arching high over the Firth, for centuries the country's greatest natural barrier, has moved the Highlands nearer to Edinburgh. It's narrowed the gap between the workaday world and the open roads which beckon to the freedom beyond. playgrounds of Scotland come in all shapes and sizes, most of them laid out by nature alone. And the Scots tackle their play in much the same spirit as they approach education. They go at it hard, and it's meant for everybody. If there is such a thing as an exclusive sport, they haven't heard of it here. The hills march away clear to the skyline, wrapped now in their winter solitude, waiting for spring to clear away the mists and bring back life to the waters below. Messing about in boats is a state of mind that might have been made for Scotland. The sea probes deep inland in 1,000 sheltered locks. Contentment, for some people, means friends and noise and bustle. But there's always room for the individualist.
When we moved, I wasn't so much bothered for myself. It was the wife. A man can make friends at work or in a pub, but I wondered how she'd get on. She was having the baby, and as the time got near, the neighbours started trooping in, you know, with, is she all right? Is everything fine? That sort of thing. But they couldn't do enough. One of my friends at work, well, his wife came right across the city. She just knocked at the door, and she said, I'm Archie Muir's wife, and I've come to wash your nappies. Some places you're lucky if you've got one or two decent neighbours. Well, we seem to have whole clans of them. I like football, follow football, but I hadn't been to a match up here. Then my next door neighbour, he said, well, how about going to the game on Saturday? Well, we got there. He pulled out these stand tickets, but he wouldn't let me put my hand in my pocket. I said, now, look, come on. But he wouldn't have it. I paid him back the only way I could. We didn't get home till midnight. And then it was the wife's turn to pay me back. I never thought I'd play golf. Never thought it was my sort of game, you know. Too expensive for a start. But it's different here. Here they all play golf. They're fanatical about it. So now, I've joined a club. 5-day membership, mind you, but it only cost me £5 a year. I reckon I'm golfing for a quarter of what it would have cost me in the south. Of course, the friendliness stops short at the first tee and doesn't start again till you're at the 19th. In between that, it's war.
Some people, of course, don't want to do anything much, except maybe get a breath of air, somewhere quiet. He lives now, this one-time Londoner, 20 minutes from his desk in Edinburgh, and another 20 from the trout.
I've always had the idea that trout fishing, at any rate, was a bit of a rich man's sport. Here, well, a lot of people seem to go in for it. You should see the trout in some of these locks. And I'm no distance from the river. What's more, it isn't private water. And one of the things I learned just after I've been here a while is that all burns are free and they're full of fish. Mind you, they're Scots fish, so they're kind of canny at times.
Fishing is no longer an expedition when the fish is just down the road from home.
It takes me just half an hour to get to work, to my office in Dalkeith, or if I have to go into the main factory in Edinburgh, about the same, which I think is tolerable by any standards. Particularly when you come back to a village, which is in the middle of the country, and extremely beautiful countryside at that. But as an area to bring children up, the climate's very good. And of course, it's tremendously clean. There's a serenity about the countryside which leaves its mark on people. When you've been here a while, you notice it in the children's behavior. You see it in yourself. I travel a fair bit, both in Britain and abroad. I like getting about, but more and more I find myself wanting to get back to this place. I miss it more every time I'm away. I think it's a freedom I've come to appreciate. You're not stifled and restricted the way you are in some London suburbs. It's a pleasure to walk. There are animals in the fields and birds in the hedges, and you feel you're really in the country. It's a wonderful start in life for kids.
There will always be men who prefer the quieter tributaries, and others who'd rather be where the currents meet. Bridges are what you make them, even between people.
To move south again now, I think, would be almost as big a wrench as moving north in the first place was. If I don't watch out, I'll be taking up the bagpipes. That'll be the day.
They wanted to make me a friend. They wanted to show me around. They were proud of their country and proud of their surroundings. Mind you, I'm still an Englishman, but, well, I'm at home here now. That's all I want to say.
My husband says I'm looking younger. I told him to take more water with it.
We've had time to think about it, and on the whole, we reckon we're happier here than we've been anywhere else.
Present bridges, bridges past. Part of past and present, the old sentinels still stand. Milestones to tell us how far we've come. Where we go and how far we go is up to us. One thing is certain. There will be many more milestones, and there is room for them here in Scotland.